Rick Warren, pastor of Saddleback Church and the author of the book, The Purpose-Driven Life. Now, we're going to begin this 40-day journey by looking at life's three most important questions. The question of existence, why am I alive? The question of significance, does my life matter? And the question of intention, what is my purpose? The only way to know your purpose is to ask your Creator who made you, why did you make me, God? Proverbs 9 verse 10 says this, knowing God results in every other kind of understanding. It all starts with God.
Well, good morning, First Light Church. We are so glad you are with us this morning. Today, sadly, is our final Fully Alive service. We are so glad that you've been a part of this and hope you've really enjoyed it and that God has spoken to you and told you about how you can be fully alive in Him. If you are, see, many of us are wearing these awesome red shirts. I actually got a bunch more. So if you haven't gotten one yet, you can, while I'm talking, you go back in the back and get one, put it on. We all look like some of us because we all look so cool in these red shirts. And I know next week you're like, what are we going to wear? But you can still wear it next week if you really want to. It's going to be really great. So welcome to First Light Church. If you're a guest here, this is going to be a great service as we wrap up the series. So thank you very much. And if you are a regular part of it, of our service, and giving is part of your spiritual gift, we want to encourage you to give. There's an offering box in the back, or you can give online. There's a lot of ways to help support the life of this church. You saw that video that we just watched with Rick Warren and his Purpose-Driven Life series. That's one of about 7 different options we're having for small groups. After service, you'll see there's a row of tables out there, and our small group leaders are going to be out there, and there should be a group that's right for you. So go and talk to the leaders that are leading it, learn more about what these groups are, and sign up for one, and just experience that. Also, coming up in October, we have a trunk or treat. We're partnering with the South Portland Recs Department, and we need some people to donate candy, as you see. There's some bins out there. So over the next few weeks, if you come to church, you bring a bag of candy, throw it in there in those bins, and we're going to be collecting it so that we can give it out. But we also need trunks. We need people with vehicles that will decorate their trunk so that kids can come by. We can just share with them the love of Christ as we give out candy. And so if you want to be a part of that, please, there's a sign up in the back. They'll be at one of those tables as well. We also have our Christmas craft fair coming up because, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. So if you want to be a part of that, you can sign up for that and just we are looking for vendors to help that want to sell some great options. So those are, one last thing is we are looking for some people that want to help drive our van. So if that's something that you are willing to do, it doesn't take very much work as long as you have a regular license. I don't think you need a special license or anything like that. So if you can help out, even just once in a while, just be someone we can call on to say, hey, we need someone to drive the van. There'll be a sign-up sheet back out in the lobby as well after church. So now we're going to pass it on. I'm going to pass it on to Pastor AJ and Amber. They've got to start us off well.
School series. I'm excited. This has been so much fun. It's fun every year to host with my friend AJ right here. And I'm actually going to start us off by inviting our pastoral staff to come on up. So I'm going to invite our Lighthouse pastor and Children's Lighthouse pastor, Liz, and Dave, our family pastor, Dawn, our children's pastor, and Haley, our youth pastor.
Awesome. Let's give them a big hand, guys. This is our awesome family ministry team. So good to see you guys. And as Amber said, we are in our final week of back to school, Fully Alive. And this is not a typical series. This is your first time here. Every year around this time, when the kids are getting ready to go back to school, we do this series to highlight all the different ministries happening here involving our kids and our students that maybe you guys don't always get to see. And so in week number 1, we highlighted our Lighthouse School and our preschoolers. In week number 2, we looked at our elementary kids and we prayed for all the kids as they were going back to school. And then last week, our few students, our middle school, high school, college-age students, they kind of took over the service. And today, as we conclude this series, we're celebrating volunteers. And it takes so many volunteers to be able to make church happen each and every week. And today I want to start off by recognizing our unsung heroes amongst volunteers. In fact, these are volunteers that you guys would never know they were even serving unless they messed up. You're in the middle of a worship song and the lyrics don't pop up right. A mic gives a big feedback sound and you cringe. You're at home trying to watch online and it will not load, and so you text in. Or if you're in church, you look back. So right now, I want you guys all to look back, but in a positive way. And can we get a big round of applause for all of our tech people who are behind the scenes each and every week? And we've got like about a dozen people on our tech team. I mean, we have lighting, we have cameras, we have the online service, we have the soundboard, and we have projection. That's a lot of stuff. We can always use one more. And so, first of all, I want to let all of our tech and worship people know we appreciate them. We have this really cool shirt for you. It's got the First Light logo on the back, and on the front, it simply says, "I do church sound. For miracles, ask Jesus." I think it's awesome. So if you would like one of these shirts, you can get one of these shirts. All you have to do is today in the foyer, sign up and say you're interested in joining our sound and tech team. No experience required. We're willing to train you. But if you'd like one of these, they're available. And all of you sound people are going to get one. We love and we appreciate you guys so very much. So Amber, I know, I've been doing this whole get up thing, right? Each week, all that stuff. For those of you who guys don't know, haven't been here the last few weeks, every year they ask me as a senior pastor to help lead songs by dancing. I have no idea why. Thank you, I appreciate that. Sympathy clap from Caleb, thank you. And then the teens heckle me later as to how horrible a dancer I am. So this year I signed up for Ray Gunn's breakdancing school in Portland, Maine, to try to work on some of my skills. And apparently it hasn't been any better this year. But I've learned something. Through all of you guys and the Bible lessons we've been learning each week, I have learned something really important, that I don't have to worry about an audience of everyone. I just have to worry about an audience of one and what God thinks about me. And that's really what it means to live what? Fully alive, right?
I love that.
So I'm not going to worry about my breakdancing skills. They are what they are. But I want to be fully alive. And so we're going to do our opening song to get this party started that we do every week. But if you stand with us, I also want to let you guys know we had some sneak video that was taken last week that I saw it and I was like, this really represents what it means to be fully alive. Because we had one of our wonderful, wonderful senior leaders here who just was in the spirit and getting into this song. And so check this out, and then we're going to start dancing with our opening song. But stand up and check this out. Everybody, let's be fully alive. Here we go.
Where you at? It's time to celebrate. It's time to get it started. The party's happening here. That's right. Turn up the music loud. Dance like nobody's watching. We got a reason to cheer. Let's go. 'Cause Jesus, your love is for everyone. We're gonna shine your light. Shine your light today. So come on, clap your hands, and everybody dance. The party is popping, nobody's stopping. We're gonna do it right and have a good time. All for you, Jesus, 'cause you're always with us. It's time to start the party. It's time to start the party.
happening here. Yeah. Turn up the music loud. Dance like nobody's watching. We got a reason to cheer. 'Cause Jesus, your love is for everyone. We're gonna shine your light today. So come on, clap your hands. Everybody dance. The party is popping. Nobody's stopping. We're gonna do it right and have a good time. All for you, Jesus, 'cause you're always with us. It's time to start the party. It's time to start the party. Oh yeah. It's time to start the party. It's time to start the party.
All right, let's break it down one time. Get up now, party people, gather all around. No time to snooze, we gotta spread the news, so get on up and get down. Get up now, party people, gather all around. No time to snooze, we gotta spread the news, so get on up and get down. Get up now, party people, gather all around. No time to snooze, we gotta spread the news, so get on up and get down. Now go tell them about it. That's right.
Great job, everybody. Now our students are going to lead us in some worship, so continue standing.
Christ is my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand, when everything around me is shaken. I've never been more glad that I put my faith in Jesus, 'cause He's never let me down. He's faithful through generations. So why would He fail now? You won't. You won't. I've still got joy in peace. I've got peace that makes no sense. Still, I won't be going under. I'm not held by my own strength, 'cause I build my life on Jesus. 'Cause He's never let me down. He's faithful in every season.
right, church, here we go.
I needed rescue. My sin was heavy, but chains break at the weight of your glory. I needed shelter. I was an orphan. Now you call me a citizen of heaven. When I was broken, you were my healer. Now your light is the air that I'm breathing. I have a future. My eyes are open. 'Cause when you call my name,
Come on, church, everyone, here we go.
I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day.
Sometimes we forget that the church is not the building, or maybe even what goes on here for an hour and a half or so on Sunday mornings. The church is really the people, and the people are the fabric of the church. And we're recognizing volunteers today, but sometimes we think that means it's the people who are up front, the people who are doing the talking or the singing, but the church is all of us. And sometimes it's important for us to stop and just acknowledge how vital some people are to us. And this morning, we want to recognize two of our long-term volunteers. I'm not going to say how long. That wouldn't be prudent, wouldn't be polite, but some who have been here since the church was on Sawyer Street, before this building was built in 1972, or the original part of the church in 1972. People who were here, as reported, because I wasn't here, they were here every time the doors were open. They were always, Pat, who was always in choir, Fred, who was always an usher, always, since Methuselah was a boy. They were in Bible studies, they were here in the prayer room, they're always looking for ways to help, to cook. Pat served on the church board, and just all manner of things that I don't know and couldn't, they're just awesome. And as you know, many of you know, Fred had a fall a couple of weeks ago. He's in rehab. He's doing great. We were there to see him earlier this week. And this morning, we want to present to Fred and Pat. Do you want to come over here in the center of the stage so that everybody can see you and the people online can see you? You don't have to say anything unless you really want to.
I'm not one.
You don't have to say anything unless you really want to.
Oh, I just want to thank everyone that's been so kind and thoughtful in sending cards to Fred. He's really appreciated it. And he loves this church. He's always at the front door welcoming everybody that comes in. And sometimes he gives hugs to the ladies. I've noticed that. But I'm so thankful to be able to be here and to be able to speak up for him. I love him.
Thank you. That is all right. That is all right. Thank you. I just want you to know I was at the rehab this week, and he tried to hug Pastor AJ too. So it's not just the ladies. Yeah. Okay. Our district superintendent Paul McPherson is going to come and read something that we have for you.
Pat, it's a privilege to present this to you. Reads First Light South Portland Church of the Nazarene takes pleasure in presenting this certificate to Fred and Pat Schuschler for a lifetime of servant leadership with First Light South Portland Church of the Nazarene. On behalf of a grateful local congregation, district, and denomination, thank you for your incredible service.
Thank you very much.
would you please take your seats? And we're going to stop now for a moment of prayer, praying for our service and for our volunteers this morning, and to thank you all for your love and appreciation that you've shown to Pat and Fred. And when he comes back, make sure you give him a double helping of love, because we miss him at the door, and he's just a great guy. So is Pat. They're lucky. They're good. They're a good pair together. Let's join our hearts in prayer. Father, thank you that we are able to gather this morning. We appreciate the privilege. We thank you for saints of the church like Fred and Pat Schussler, who show us love, who show us patience and discipline and consistency. They just keep showing up and letting you work. That's a good lesson to all of us. We thank you for all the volunteers who are part of this church that we get to have the privilege to be in. We ask that we may have eyes to see one another, to show appreciation and gratitude to each other, that we may be people who love one another so good that that is our reputation. People would look and say, that First Light Church there, those people, they really love you. May we be the best at that we can be. Continue to be with us this morning as we worship, as we hear your words spoken. May our hearts and minds be open to hear what you have to say. Bless our teens and our children and our adults who are participating and getting up to offer themselves this morning to help lead us. We're just so grateful to be part of such a great servant congregation. May we be a blessing to one another. I pray in the name of Jesus. And all of God's children said, amen. One more thing before I sit down. As part of the trying to give you an opportunity to respond to the message today, we have some volunteers who are going to be passing out these fully alive response cards. We wanted to make sure that everybody gets one so that you can fill it out and turn it in. You can either put it in the offering box at the end, at the back of the sanctuary, or there's offering plates and baskets here at the front that you can just fill them out and put them in. There's pencils in the pews. You can borrow a pen from somebody if you need to. I have a pen. I will loan it to you if you give it back. Can we have our volunteers come now and start to pass out those videos, and I will sit down. You won't have to look at me anymore. Thanks.
I do not think I need to tell you how important tonight is. The final kitchen competition will determine 3/4 of your final grade. Because, as we know, all the lessons in the world do not matter if you cannot cook on the day. Now, the standards I set are very difficult for a reason. And that reason is that those of you who walk through these hallowed halls a success tonight, you will be catapulted into the life of the culinary arts. But for those of you who will not, you will be consigned to the grease traps of history. Okay? Okay. I'll see you all tonight. Sharpen your knives, get ready, okay? It's gonna be great. I believe in about 3 of you. Okay, goodbye. I do not think you will succeed, Mr. Rodriguez. Good luck. Vamos, everybody. Vamos, go, go.
Oh, were you gonna cook something for me tonight?
Kind of, yeah.
Oh, well, you can't. Sorry. I've got a surprise for you.
Surprise?
That's right. Have you noticed what today is?
It's the qualifying race day, isn't it?
That's right! The fest is just around the corner, and your mom is gonna defend her crown starting tonight at the qualifying. And I cannot wait to have my kiddo right next to me, just like always.
Mom, listen,
No. Oh, wait, look, one more surprise for you. It's so you can race in the qualifying. We're gonna be the first mother-son competitors, just like we've always wanted to.
Mom, listen, I can't do this.
Well, why, sweetie? I mean, I know you're nervous, but you have no reason to be.
No.
You've trained for this moment for years. You were born for this.
Mom, I mean, I don't want to do this.
You don't want to? Why?
Look, I started this because I really like spending time with you, and it was fun. But it's not my passion. I don't know. After a while,
But I thought you liked it.
I do like it. But it's not my dream. Mom, my dream is to become a chef. That's what I really want to do. I've been going to culinary school every single night after training. And I'm being taught by Marcus Brioche at La Petite Chef.
You mean that guy who's a professional mean person on television?
Yes. Mom, this is something I have to do. I have a test tonight.
But I thought we were
No,
gonna...
Mom, listen. I have to go tonight.
Well, this is it. It's the last day of our Back to School series, and it's the last day to be fully alive. I've just loved being part of Fully Alive Frenzy, but I guess now I'll just have to go back to being partially alive churchgoer. Oh well, it was fun while it lasted.
Becca, what do you mean? Yeah, I'm fully alive. If you've had a blast during this series, make some noise, people. Let me hear you shout, I'm fully alive.
Fully alive.
Oh. Oh, wow, Becca, this is not like you. Why the long face? Aren't you excited for Fully Alive?
Well, what's the point, Joey? I mean, after this week, there's no more Fully Alive Frenzy, so there's nothing more to be fully alive about.
No way, Becca. Things are only just starting to pick up. In fact, our Back to School series is just the beginning of being fully alive. There's so many ways to live fully alive and live life to its fullest.
But I thought the only way that we could be fully alive was by serving up here and jumping around and having fun and playing games with all you guys.
Oh, no, not true. There's so many ways to be fully alive here at First Light Church. You could be fully alive as a part of our welcome team, greeting new visitors every week. You could be fully alive as a part of our Life Essentials team, giving out clothing and food to the people in need. You could be fully alive helping our media team and tech team and get those cool shirts. And of course, there's my favorite way to be fully alive here at First Light Church, which is helping serve at Lighthouse Daycare, Lighthouse Kids Elementary, or Student Fuse Ministries.
Well,
Becca, there are so many ways to be a part of a bigger story that God is doing right here at First Light Church.
and you know what, Joey? You might not always look it, but you are actually pretty wise beyond your years.
Thanks, Becca. I get that a lot. But you know what? Being fully alive, it means being an active part of God's bigger story. And I don't mean to be corny, but I think that being fully alive is just a poppin' way to live.
And he's back.
Becca, I don't want to butter you up, but I think I've got the greatest, most elaborate challenge ever devised on Fully Alive Frenzy.
Okay, it's not going to be another one of those wild three-legged races like last week, was it?
Oh, Becca, sweet Becca, this is so much greater. It'll leave our other challenges creamed.
Okay, there's something going on here. You're doing some sort of pun thing, and I haven't quite figured it out yet.
Yes, there is a kernel of truth to what you're saying. So if you want to try and guess, I'm all ears.
Okay, let's see if I can figure this out. Ears, creamed, butter, popping. I think that you said something about being corny. I think I get it, but I'm not quite sure. So why are you making all these corn puns?
That's right, Becca. Today on Fully Alive Frenzy, we are going to do a cornhole challenge.
Are you kidding me? Oh my goodness, this is going to be worse than the three-legged race. What's next, a pickleball tournament? No offense, Pete. We like pickleball.
Oh, I should have thought of that pickleball. Next year, Pete. But, Becca, don't you fret. It's going to be a cornucopia of excitement when our two pastors take on our two volunteers in Cornhole Chaos 2024.
All right, let's see. So 2 pastors. Can we have Pastors Carl and Pastor Hank? Where are you? Oh, there you are. And let's see. For our volunteers, I'm thinking Chris and Kelly Minor. Come on up. All right, you guys, pastors, we're going to have you stand right here behind the blue line. Oh, get behind the blue line. All right. Chris and Kelly, you guys going to be right here.
Which team will be able to land their bags onto the platform of destruction or into the hole of doom?
Aw, shucks, Joey. Oh. All right, now you're making me do these corny puns.
Glad you're joining the party, Becca. And we will also reward points for which team can get the most height on their beanbag before it lands. Sorry. It's going to be amazing. Get it? Because like a corn maze or like the Spanish thing?
Yeah, Joey, I get it. You're so punny. All right. In fact, you're so funny, I might have a massive coronary.
You might want to save the punning for the professionals, Becca. But wait, there's more. Let me introduce you to our children of the corn.
Ooh, all right,
Lincoln.
Colin, Amelia, come on up.
Come on.
Right this way.
These little rascals are going to stalk those beanbags and try to knock them out of the air and thwart their landing. All right, guys, right there. Yeah, right in line. Good job. Okay, so you each get 4 beanbags. You're going to try to throw them over the children of the corn and get them to land on the cornhole.
All right.
Corn things, I don't know.
This could be interesting.
What are they called?
All right.
The board?
So how about we raise the stakes a little, shall we? All right, so since so many people here at First Light Church serve, we're going to say if our volunteer team wins, no pressure, if our volunteer team wins, that everybody wins a sweet prize. How does that sound? No
Sounds
cheating.
good to me. Okay, cupcakes for everyone after the service. Let's go team volunteer, am I right?
Woo!
On your mark. Get set.
Put your hands up.
Throw.
Block 'em. Oh.
We're out of bags. All right. Looks
All
like
right.
the volunteers
Throw it that
won
way.
fair and square.
All right, yeah, fair and square, as always. All right, you guys, thank you for volunteering. And Chris and Kelly, a little extra something sweet for you guys for participating. And everybody after the service, sweet treat. All right, thank you guys. Yep, you guys can go have a seat now. Thank you. Colin, I will, thank you. All right. So you know what, Joey, that was actually fun. You know, and also it helped me remember that what it means to be fully alive. So it's not just about doing like all the games in the service, although that's a lot of fun, but it's about living our lives fully for Jesus.
Hey, Becca, you know who else is fully alive?
Is this another one of your lame segues, Joey? Because you've been doing pretty good today, so let's not jinx it.
The Apostle Paul. He was fully alive. And in today's story, Old Man Ted is going to tell us how Paul had been in jail for 2 years, but he was still able to live fully alive, no matter what, because he was living as a part of God's bigger story.
And God also invites us into his amazing story. Joey, you, me, and all of us here are invited to live like we're a part of a bigger story. It's not just Paul's story or my story or your story. It's everyone's story. It's his story.
Speaking of his story, our Fully Alive Frenzies for this year's Back to School series are his story.
All right, but one last time. All right, on the count of 3, I need you all to yell, "I am fully alive." You ready, Joey? 1, 2, 3. I'm fully alive.
All right.
And now it's story time with Old Man Ted.
Okay. Settle down, Rebecca. Sure, I'm glad this is the last one of these. Last week nearly wore me out. I wasn't even here, recovering from my lumbago. Anyways, when we're done tonight, or today, I get to go home and take a nap. Well, today's story is about someone that got himself into a world of trouble. He was arrested and found himself in prison. And now he's on trial for the heinous crime of spreading lies. Paul had been traveling from town to town telling people about a dead man who had come back to life, and that this Jesus was the Son of God. Wild claims, right? Yet Paul was certain this was true. Paul had spent the past 2 years in prison, waiting and waiting and waiting for a trial date. Finally, the time has come. He was about to go before the court of the puppet king Agrippa to find his fate. Now, I know what you're thinking. And no, this has nothing to do with the Muppets. But I do admit that I love Statler and Waldorf. They are so relatable. Am I right, Pastor Ken? Well, a puppet king was someone who looks like a leader, but behind the facade, they aren't. The Romans were really in charge, and they put Agrippa in charge as their puppet. To make matters worse, the prosecutor against Paul was the tenacious governor Festus. Festus was eager to prove his worth before the puppet king, and was hoping to convince Agrippa that Paul was a serious threat and needed to be dealt with.
King Agrippa and everybody else, take a good look at this man.
Festus explained that a large number of Jews complained that Paul was disturbing the peace and propagating blasphemy. Something had to be done about these festering lies. They were demanding the death penalty. Festus had made an impressive argument, and now it was Paul's turn to share his story. Paul stands up, takes a deep breath, and he's ready to speak.
King Agrippa, I am ready to answer all charges that are brought against me.
Paul began to share how ever since he was a boy, he followed the Jewish law to the letter. He knew everything there was to know about God and his promises, and how adamantly he was against Jesus and his followers. He made it his life's mission to stop Jesus' resurrection story from spreading, doing whatever he could to destroy the followers of Jesus. Well, one day, while going to the city of Damascus, something happened. About noon, he was traveling down the road, and suddenly, a bright light came down from heaven. Bright light came down from heaven.
Saul, why are you opposing me? I am Jesus, the one you are persecuting.
Now, just so you're aware, Saul was Paul's name at the time. He'd later become Paul. So Saul was nervous. He had done awful things to the people who followed Jesus. What was going to happen to him? But the voice told him that he will go and tell people about Jesus. Paul was going to be a part of a much bigger story, a story that leads people out of darkness and into God's marvelous light.
King Agrippa, I obeyed my vision from heaven.
First, Paul preached to people in Damascus. Then he preached to people in Jerusalem and Judea. Then he went to preach to the Gentiles, city after city, as far as he could travel, facing whatever obstacles came along. Paul wanted people to know the truth about Jesus. This is a huge moment. King Agrippa is confronted with truth from Paul about Jesus. Let's hear what he has to say.
Objection, Your Honor. All this learning is making him crazy.
I'm not crazy. What I'm saying is true.
Paul explains what it means to believe that Jesus has risen from the dead. With authority from heaven, he was convincing this puppet king that Jesus was the Son of the living God. It truly was an amazing sight to behold, until the puppet king spoke.
I find no fault in this man. If he had more time, then maybe he could have convinced me to follow Jesus. Paul has done nothing to deserve death. Release him.
I appeal to Caesar. Seriously?
Objection.
Are you crazy? You could have been set free.
After waiting 2 years in prison, Paul would have been set free, but he knew this was where God was leading him. As a Roman citizen, he had the legal right to take his case all the way to the top, but it made no sense. Agrippa had cleared him of all charges, but since he appealed to Caesar, the puppet king Agrippa was required to send him to Rome.
You have forced my hand, and now I have to send you to Rome. Go plead your case to Caesar, but I doubt he'll be as favorable as I. Bailiff, take him away!
Paul never stopped boldly preaching the good news about Jesus, no matter what was happening, good or bad. Paul told it to the Jews, to Gentiles, to the rich, to the poor, to peasants, priests, governors, kings, and even Caesar. Paul knew he was part of a bigger story with a much brighter ending. And Paul's story invites us to find ourselves inside a powerful story that God has for each of us. I guess that's it. I am exhausted. I'm going to go home after this service and have a long nap.
I am fully alive.
I am fully alive.
I am fully alive. I am fully alive. I am fully alive. I am fully alive.
I'm fully alive.
I am fully alive.
Ah, what a day. Now you can hear me, right? With all of that, yes. So, good morning. How many of you are familiar with The King and I? The old animated, or the old King and I movie? How many people are familiar with that? You know, with such great classic numbers as Shall We Dance or Getting to Know You? Getting to know you. Getting to know all about you. Now, what you might not know is that this exists.
Getting to know you, getting to know all about you. Getting to like you, getting to hope you like me. Getting to know you, putting it my way, but nicely. You are precisely my cup of tea.
Ah, the animated King and I, a cinematic masterpiece which Maybe you've missed, I don't know, but it is filled with danger, intrigue, heroics, and even comedy, like you've never seen it before. Dare I say, one of the greatest scenes of this film, like a Marvel movie, shows up at the end credits with this powerful scene. Check this clip out right there. If you see there, yes, I, David A. Reese, worked on this breathtaking film. Yes, I know, it's amazing. If you haven't seen it, don't. In my early 20s, I moved out to Los Angeles to try to work in the entertainment industry. My goal was to be the next Frank Oz. Now, if you don't know who Frank Oz is, he was Jim Henson's right-hand man. He's the master behind such classics as Miss Piggy, Animal, Grover, Yoda, and my spirit animal, Fozzie Bear. Frank eventually moved on to directing films like Little Shop of Horrors, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, and so many other great movies, and I wanted to be Frank. I wanted to make my mark on the world by telling amazing stories through the magic of film. The problem was I was working on this cash grab, this kind of poorly animated film. But I longed to be a part of a bigger story. As Old Man Ted told us about, we saw the story of Paul. Paul was the first great missionary. Paul traveled all around Asia Minor, and Southern Europe, to tell people all about Jesus. He wasn't on some sort of Mediterranean cruise. He was out there facing great challenges and adversities to share with people the meaning of being fully alive in Christ. Let's listen to some of the things he went through. He says, I suffered terrible beatings and almost died. 5 times they gave me 39 strokes with the whip. 3 times I was beaten with sticks. Once they tried to kill me by stoning. I had to keep on the move. I've been in danger from rivers. I've been in danger from robbers. I've been in danger in the city and in the country and at sea. I've gone without sleep. I've gone without food. I have been cold and naked. Wow. Paul faced a lot. Probably more than I would even think of being able to face, right? And by the time we met him this morning, we saw him. He had been sitting in prison for 2 years. Just 2 years waiting for a trial. Paul faced so many of these difficulties, but this is what he realized he was part of a bigger story, and that's our bottom line today. It says that we can live fully alive because we are a part of God's bigger story. So I was working in the animation studio, and I began to wonder, what was my bigger story? What's a larger story to my life? I wanted more than this movie. I mean, who really needs an animated King and I, right? I wanted something else. During that same time, I started volunteering with the middle schoolers of the church I had attended. And I just started spending more and more time there. And I really like our leaders here at First Light that spend time with our students. They've learned that there's a love and a life that comes out of spending time with students. And so I started just spending more time going to their sporting events, spending time with their families, using my vacation time, as many of our leaders do, to go on camps and retreats and things like that. I loved being a part of youth ministry. And in fact, my buddy Steve and I, we started a Bible study for a bunch of middle school boys. As you can imagine how chaotic that was. And as we were coming home from our summer camp one year, God really began to speak to me. I was thinking about my time at the animation studio and having to go back to work, and I realized that's not really the story that God had for me. God was inviting me into a different story, a story that would change my life, a fully alive story. And that's where we get our theme for this series, comes from John 10:10, where Jesus tells his disciples and all who are there, he says, I have come so that they may have life. I want them to have it in the fullest possible way. And so on that bus ride home, I surrendered my call to God. The story I had been writing, this imagination of working in Hollywood, was filled with movie stars and fancy cars and life with the top down. But the story God had for me was so much better. And it's taken me all around the country and all around the world, helping students and adults discover what it means to have this passionate walk with Jesus, to live fully alive as God has called them to. And so when he was younger, Paul, he didn't dream of being this great missionary. He actually dreamed of being this intellectual. He wanted to go around and do these lectures, and he saw that these people who followed Jesus, he didn't want anything to do with them. He wanted to be a Pharisee. And so he writes this about himself: I was an Israelite by birth, of the tribe of Benjamin, a pure-blood Hebrew. As far as keeping the Jewish law is concerned, I was a Pharisee. I was so zealous that I persecuted the church. As far as a person could be righteous, obeying the commands of the law, I was without fault. Paul was dedicated. He was driven. He was hardcore. He wanted to be a Pharisee so bad he was persecuting Christians. He would go around their homes and pull them out and throw them in jail. And he thought that was his story. And he lived it well. And that would have been his story if he hadn't met Jesus. As we saw, he met Jesus on the road to Damascus. And in the skit, we saw Old Man Ted was telling us that Jesus spoke to him, and he called him out of torturing Christians and into proclaiming Christ. And so Paul would go anywhere and everywhere to tell people about Jesus. From the poor and lowly to the highly educated, even to the puppet kings and Roman emperors, Paul would not stop telling people about Jesus. And he would tell them that Jesus, out of his own free will, he gave up all he had. And he took on the nature of a servant, and he became a human being. And he appeared in human likeness. He was humbled, and he walked the path of obedience all the way to death, to his death on the cross. And Paul would explain that Jesus did all this because he loved us. And Jesus wants us to live this richer, deeper, more meaningful story. Jesus wants us to be fully alive. When I answered God's call, the story of my life changed. And I am forever, forever grateful. Now, it might not be as glamorous or as prestigious as being the next Frank Oz, but my life has been filled with amazing adventures for Jesus, helping people really discover what it means to be fully alive. And this is the truth for us, that we all have a story, that Jesus wants us all to live fully alive. He has a story for all of us. And it's a story more grand than Lord of the Rings, more stellar than Star Wars, more expansive than the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's a story of a God, the only true God, so full of love that he spoke our universe into existence. And this God, he created humanity. He created all of us, you and me. We are created in that God's image. And God, he gave us free will. He gave us the freedom to choose to follow him or reject him. God became one of us. Jesus came so that we could experience God's love and grace and mercy. And he offered his life so that we could have this personal and deep relationship with him. And it's this God who is preparing an eternal place for us where he will wipe away every tear from our eyes. There will be no more death, no more grief, no more crying, no more pain. This is where our story is heading, to this dramatic conclusion. If there can be a conclusion in an eternal adventure, this conclusion ends with us finding our true home with God. And God's home will be with people. He will live with them, and they shall be his people. God himself will be with them, and he will be their God. To quote Dr. Teeth, this is a narrative of heavy-duty proportions. Over the past 4 weeks, we've been looking at stories of men and women who've entered into God's fully alive story for them. We saw Joseph, who was going through these ups and downs of life, and he discovered that he can live fully alive because God was always with him. And we saw Esther, who discovered that she could live fully alive because God had a plan for her, and she could trust God's plan. Last week we saw these two men walking from Emmaus, and they discovered that they too could live fully alive because Jesus was fully alive. And today we see Paul, when he was known as Saul, being this religious zealot, hell-bent on destroying Jesus' followers. But then when he met Jesus on the road to Damascus, his life changed. And now Paul lives fully alive and inviting people from all walks of life to have a fully alive relationship with God. God invited me as a young man who was looking to find fame and fortune to change the story of my life and to enter into God's fully alive story. And God longs for that for you as well. God is inviting you into his story. He is calling each of us into a deepening relationship with him, as C.S. Lewis would say, to go further up and further in, trusting that Jesus will see us through the highs and lows of life. And maybe you're hearing this story this morning, and you hear the voice of God speaking to you, inviting you into this bigger, better, deeper, richer story. So let me ask you then, what is your next step? What is God calling you to do? How is God calling you to be fully alive? Because no matter where you are or what you've done, look at Paul, right? No matter what happens, God is inviting you to the next step. And that doesn't mean you're going to end up being, this great missionary. That's not the next step. Paul, at Road to Damascus, his next step was going to be massive missionary. He was just going to take the next step God had for him. And my next step wasn't to be, next step I was going to be here to be the family pastor. No. But I just had to take the next step to follow Jesus where he was calling. So this morning, it's time to ask yourself, what does it mean for you to be fully alive? Perhaps you just hear that voice of Jesus. Maybe you've never heard it before. Or maybe you've just pushed it away and Jesus is calling you just to enter into a relationship with him. Or maybe you have a relationship with him. And the next is just to share that with others by being baptized. That it's time to have this outward display of this inward faith. And so maybe Jesus is calling you this morning to be baptized so that you can proclaim to others all around you that you are fully alive and that you are part of God's story. Or maybe you've been living as a Christian for a long time, but you've been living the Cliff's Notes story. Right? Not the full story, but just kind of this sub-story. And you haven't really surrendered your life to Jesus. Maybe today God's calling you to go all in, to truly surrender your life to him. Or maybe you've seen all these people up here throughout these past 4 weeks, and you think, you know what? I want to be a part of that story. I want to be a part of the amazing ministry that speaks to children and youth. Or perhaps you think, maybe I want to help with the AV team. That sounds really great. Or maybe I want to play in the worship team. Or maybe I want to help serve in the community with life essentials. Maybe I want to just help with some custodial duties around the church. There are many ways to be a part of God's fully alive story here at First Light. Because God's got a beautiful story for you, and he wants you to join him. And so if you're feeling like God is calling you to be a part of his story this morning, I want you to think about that. We've got these response cards, and that's why we pass these out, just to think about, How is God calling you this morning? I want to encourage you, challenge you all just to take a moment and fill that out as we go into the video next, or we sing the songs. Take that out, and then there's these baskets up here, and there's the offering basket in the back. You know, if you take this home, you're going to forget about it. So maybe think about it. If you're really hearing God's voice, fill this out this morning and let us know that we can help you connect with God and be a part of that fully alive story. Because God loves you. He's invited each and every one of us to be fully alive. He invites you to be a part of a story that's beyond what you've been looking for, a bigger story, a greater story. Won't you pray with me? Heavenly Father, you are the one who created all this, and you're the one that continues to hold it together. You have been speaking to us this morning. You've been speaking to us throughout this whole series. You've been speaking to us throughout our whole lives, inviting us into a fully alive story. So often we're clinging to our own stories, saying we want to write the story we have for our lives, instead of giving our lives to you and trusting that your story is so much greater. So Lord, as we come to you this morning, I pray that you would speak to our hearts, that you would challenge our hearts to draw us closer to you, so that we can be a part of your story. And Lord, just remind us that we won't be doing this alone, that we are doing it together as a community. So God, as we spend our time here today, please just work in our hearts, grow deeper in our spirits, and draw us closer to you so that we can live fully alive. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Okay! I will be coming by to investigate your plots personally. But until the meantime, please stay as quiet as a little bunny.
So how do you think you did?
I'm not sure. It's weird with all these cameras here, and it's odd to see all these people, too.
Yeah, Chef Brioche is pretty serious about monetizing everything he works on. But at least our parents got to be here. Did you tell your mom about it?
Kinda. She had other plans.
Oh, yeah. Today's the day of the qualifying run. She's gonna want to be there if she's gonna defend her title at Amped Fest.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't really know why she'd want to come here because of the...
Is that?
It is.
Hey, here we are. Miss Ricketson. Let's start with you. Nice presentation, very clean. No surprise there. Very good. High marks indeed. You are one of the finest students in the class, Miss Ricketson.
Thank you, Chef.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes, Chef.
Mr. Rodriguez, I have tried to discourage you from attending a school every step of the way. I mean, short of kicking you out, I have tried everything. So what exactly, Mr. Rodriguez, do you think you can accomplish by being here? Do you really think that you can be as good as Marcus Brioche?
I think I could be better.
The air in the lungs.
That was the right answer, Mr. Rodriguez. Very good. Highest marks. Very good.
Hey, that was a good one.
Better.
Hey, Deani, can you give us a minute?
Sure.
Mom, what are you doing here?
Are you kidding me? I wasn't gonna miss this.
But what about the qualifying race?
Come on, I had to come see my son do the thing he loves.
Thank you, Mom. That really means a lot.
Kiddo, I think I might have pushed you into doing something you didn't want to do.
No, Mom, it's not your fault.
No, let me finish. I'm sorry. I really am. I should have listened to you more, paid more attention. I know that you love cooking, but I thought it was just a hobby. I had no idea how passionate you were about it.
Yeah, it's kind of the best.
I think I pushed you into wanting to follow in my footsteps because I know how much joy that this has brought me. But that's on me. I was trying to put you in a box and put you into my story, but there's a bigger story at hand. I am so proud of you. And if you need any help with anything cooking-wise, I'm right behind you.
Thanks, Mom.
One problem.
What's that?
Who am I gonna train now?
Well, I think I have an idea for that.
What are you doing?
I am no longer Deani Ricketson, but I am the Insano Tomato. I want to follow in your footsteps and become a world-famous BMX biker.
But what's with the outfit?
Branding. Just think, no one else is doing anything like this in the extreme sports world. Just think of the t-shirts I could sell. Pretty nifty, isn't it?
You're right on it. Come by the track anytime.
Thanks!
I think I'll miss you most of all, Insano Tomato.
Are you kidding me? Now you're gonna see me more than ever.
But where do we go from here? I mean, what's next?
Now, we just keep going. I'm sure Chef Brioche can find somewhere for you to intern and you can further develop your skills.
That'd be a dream. Deani, thanks for being such a good friend to me from day one.
Thanks for being so easily friendable.
I don't think I would have made it through without you.
Nah, you had your mom, you had your faith. That's enough.
And now I have you. All the right people.
Always. Come on.
Well, we've been learning so much over these last few weeks at Back to School Fully Alive, from the story of Joseph to Esther to the guys on the road to Emmaus to the story of Paul today. We've been learning about being fully alive and living as part of the bigger story that God has for us. And so that's our bottom line today. So on the count of three, can we all say it together one more time? Are you guys ready? 1, 2, 3. Live like you're part of a bigger story. That's right. And as we talk about, volunteers and volunteerism this week, I can think of so many people in our church, so many examples of people who just have been living out this bigger story in their lives. And there's probably too many to even mention today. I think of, the people on the worship team. I think of Pauline, who's here every single Sunday playing on the piano, Jim Gary and all the work he's done. Even throughout the week, he'll show up in here and work on the sound system and do incredible things. There's so many of you, our greeting team, so many of you who do so many things behind the scenes, and we thank you and we love you. I couldn't think, though, of a better person to honor as we end today with this Back to School series than this next person. This is an individual who's been a part of this church community for over 50 years. They have served in preschool ministry, children's ministry, student ministry. They've been a passionate advocate of small groups and have led in leadership roles promoting small group ministry. They have served multiple terms on our leadership board, and they have put in decades of work in our Lighthouse School as both a teacher, as a nurse, and most recently as a bookkeeper. And at the end of this month, she's going to be retiring from that role, but will continue to serve, even starting a small group in just a couple weeks. So can we have an incredible thank you applause this morning to Bonnie Porter. Bonnie, come on up here. We love you. We love Bonnie Porter, amen? You have been involved in so many, pretty much every single leadership role imaginable in this church for over 50 years. And we wanted to honor you today, and your kids were behind it too. They helped us out in putting this together. We're so thankful you guys are here as well. And so our district superintendent, Dr. Paul McPherson, would like to present this award to you.
Bonnie, it is a privilege this morning to be here and be part of this celebration. And to give you this award that reads, First Light South Portland Church of the Nazarene takes pleasure in presenting this certificate to Bonnie Porter for a lifetime of servant leadership across numerous ministries with the First Light South Portland Church of the Nazarene and Lighthouse School. Thank you on behalf of this local church, the main district, and the Church of the Nazarene for incredible, faithful, Christ-like service.
Awesome. Dr. McPherson, I'm going to ask you to stay up here with Bonnie. And I want to invite anybody now who wants to come up. We're going to do our closing song together. And so just come on up on this stage. You are welcome to come up here. We want to be fully alive like Bonnie. So let's come on up here, everybody. If you got your red shirt on, come on up. Surround her. Surround our DS. Awesome. And let's do this closing song one more time. Stand with us, everybody, as we sing Fully Alive.
I see the way you live. I see the way you love. I want to live like you. Oh, I want to love the way you do. And I don't want to wait forever. I know that your plans are greater. I am ready now, 'cause there's nothing better. No, whoa, and now I know. Oh, I wanna live fully alive. Oh, I wanna live fully alive. I wanna live for you in everything I do, 'cause I wanna live fully alive. I see the way you live. I see the way you love. And I want to live like you. Oh, I want to love the way you do. And I don't wanna wait forever. I know that your plans are greater. I am ready now, 'cause there's nothing better. No, whoa, and now I know. Oh, I wanna live fully alive. Oh, I wanna live fully alive. I wanna live for you in everything I do, 'cause I wanna live fully alive. No, I'm never looking back, never looking back. No, I'm never looking back, never looking back. No, I'm never looking back, never looking back. Yeah, he lives inside, and now I am alive. Oh, I wanna live fully alive. Oh, I wanna live fully alive. I wanna live for you in everything I do. I wanna live fully alive. Fully alive. Oh, I wanna live fully alive.
I'm not taking it personally that everybody's leaving when I came up on the platform, but yeah, just you can go. Receive this benediction. May the one who desires to bless us abundantly far more than we can ask or imagine, with grace and his infinite mercy and peace, go with you as you go out into the world to be his hands and feet, that his love may pour out through our lives to those who need him. Go in God's peace. Do not forget your cupcakes. Seriously, go. You have to get your cupcakes. We're not bringing them to you. Just go.
It's fully life. I'm fully alive. I'm fully alive. I'm fully alive. I am fully alive. I'm fully alive. I'm fully alive. I am 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 fully alive. I'm fully alive. I am fully alive. I am fully alive. I am fully alive. I am fully alive. I'm fully alive. I am fully alive. I am fully alive. I am fully alive.
I'm fully alive.
I'm fully alive. I'm fully alive.
I am fully alive. Fully alive. I'm fully alive. I am fully alive. Fully alive. I am fully alive. I am fully alive. I'm fully alive.
I'm fully alive.
I am fully alive.
I'm fully alive.
I am fully alive. I am fully alive.
I am fully alive. I am fully alive.
I am fully alive.
I am fully alive. I am fully alive. I am fully alive. I am fully alive. I am fully alive.
I'm fully alive.
I am fully alive.